Hey y'all, welcome to Crepe Myrtle Row. My name is Lisa. Today I'm sharing a thrift haul that I had pre-recorded prior to Hurricane Helene coming through my area. So I've got a couple of videos that I've already pre-recorded, so you'll probably see another one next week that was pre-recorded. However, I'm going to share at the end of this video some of the little clips that I took during the storm as it came over. We took a pretty good direct here in upstate South Carolina. And I'm gonna show some videos of that, just little small ones, you know, out my door and stuff like that. And talk about my experience with it. So I know not everybody wants to hear that. You know, I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing about this storm. We just got power back a couple of days ago, so we were not, you know, knowing what the news was telling about it and everything going on like that. But anyhow, stay tuned, watch the thrift video, and if you want to see or listen to what my experience with this storm was, just keep watching afterwards. First piece, y'all, I love quilts, and I don't really care if they're handmade or machine made if I like the way they look. Now, of course, I would love handmade, but I got this one and I don't know. I mean, it looks like hand stitching. It looks like hand binding or binding. I don't see like a manufacturer tag, like one that would, because you know, you can buy them that look like they're handmade, but you know, y'all can tell me if this is a pattern y'all have seen out commercially made, but this is just half of it because I'm not going to unfold it completely there. But I just loved the colors and the patterns and that red, and then here's the back of it, but you can kind of see how it looks like hand stitching on it up in there and right there and stuff. But I just love those colors. I think that'd be very pretty during the winter time to drape over the back of my love seat. I have one now. If you watched my fall room tour, you would have saw it in it. But this one, I love these colors, and I think that'd be pretty to do that in the winter time for it. I paid $18 for that one, by the way. So, you know, even if it's not a handmade one, I still don't think $18 was bad for it. Okay, the next thing I got, and y'all, I've mentioned this, and I don't know if you've already seen the thrift haul. I can't remember what order that it was in, of whether you'll already see it or you'll see this one first. I don't know, because I've mentioned before, I just kind of film them when I get stuff, and I just scatter them out within other videos, so who knows when you're going to see it. But I mentioned that I love doing my bedroom in a romantic cottage or French cottage look. And y'all, look at this piece. And if y'all know me, I love kissing figurines. And look at this. Isn't it so cute? Now this says it's a boy and a girl, but don't know why the boy has a dress on. And his little butt cheeks are showing. But everything I looked up says this is a boy and girl. And I loved the colors, and I loved the porcelain on it, and I paid $4.99 for it. So I thought that was super cute. Another thing I love, as y'all know, plates and stuff. I use them for decorating. I hang them on the wall. I do all kind of things. And I just loved this black and white one. And this, the Van Cortlandt Manor House. And it was built in 1680s, and it was very famous during the Revolutionary War. Washington had stayed there. Several famous people had stayed in this house, but just loved, number one, the look of the house, but just the transferware of that black plate can be used in my decor. These next two items, these were $4 a piece, and they're these candle sconces or sticks or whatever you want to call them. Looks like they would hold more of a tea light or the votive size, and I have several of those that are battery operated that use a remote, so that makes it very handy. And I just loved the design on it. So it's like a little metal butterfly, and I like the colors on this, but this is also something that would be easy to repaint in any color scheme that I wanted to do. But I thought for next spring, these would look good in my living room on my fireplace. So for $4 each, those were nice. Okay, this next piece is something, I already have one of these. And y'all, this is probably one of the best selling things in my Etsy store. Every time I put one on there, it sells. So again, this one will definitely be going up for sale in my Etsy store. And it's just one of them little honey pots. Love that. So every time I can find one, I pick them up because I know, I mean, they go almost as soon as I list them. Another thing I got is this little planter or cup, if you want it. I'm pretty sure it's a planter. It was $2, but I liked it because it kind of had that matte finish, sort of like Roseville pottery does. And it's just a pretty pink color. And, you know, I do my greenhouse. I got all kinds of plants. So this would be a cute little pot to have some little plant in. Another thing I picked up that I will be putting on my Etsy store is this little turkey. Now this one is just a tiny bit smaller than some of the other ones I've had. I mean, like the other ones might have been like this much taller and maybe about that much bigger around. But this one was made in '76. The odd thing is, it's made Fran, that's my mom's name, but I know she didn't do this one because back in 1976, she was not doing ceramics. Now, if this would have been in the 80s, I would have questioned, was this a piece my mom had made? Because during the 80s, I know she and my stepdad had really got into doing different ceramics. But this one will be going on my Etsy shop as well. Because again, this is another thing, I cannot keep them in there. As soon as I put one, it gets sold. So I appreciate it. And I think it was someone from here that watches me here on YouTube that bought it. So I appreciate that, y'all. And the next thing is this ceramic turkey that's like a planter or a dish. I guess you could fill it up with candies or something, but I loved it as well. Love the colors. I love glazed pottery and haven't decided if this one's going to be sold or if I want to keep it for myself. I just have to figure out if I have somewhere to put it. Okay, the next thing I have is this vintage owl. And yes, he has a little bit of the tip broken, but I'm not worried about that. I just absolutely love the colors on this. And as y'all know, if you've watched any of my fall decor, I love owls. And he was $5. Sorry for the shaking. One of my granddogs just came in, and he's a big dog, and he had to come say hello. But just loved that piece. Okay, next, y'all, I loved this watering can. But it's just not a regular watering can. As a matter of fact, it's not, you can't use it as a watering can because you see the holes in the bottom? It's got them in there, and that is probably about this much higher up than the very bottom. So it was made to be a planter to start with, and that's what I'm gonna do. I already have one out there right next to my pond area that I've planted up with some succulents. So not sure what I'll plant in this one next year, but I loved that colors. And I mean, I could just leave it like it is and not plant anything. I'm looking at, ooh, I think those are spider eggs. I'm gonna have to get those off of the bottom. There's nothing in them, but yeah. But anyhow, I'm gonna probably sit it on my front porch for decoration until and if I decide to plant something in it. But I love the colors, and I love big metal watering cans. Now this one was a little bit expensive. It was $14, but if this were a real functioning water can without the holes, it would have probably been $30 or more at least. But love that. The next thing I got was this, I think it's a vintage like peach basket because of the little plastic handle and stuff, and it was $4. I just love that. So I thought this would look nice on my front porch for the fall. Maybe set a mum down in it. If I do a mum, I'm not very big on real mums just because I hate to spend that kind of money on something that's just gonna die in a few weeks. So who knows? I know that Hobby Lobby has some fake ones that are pretty realistic from the distance that people will see mine on my porch. And I have a few bunches, but I've seen other people showing that they had some other colors this year, so I might try to go get me enough to fill this up, or just put some fake pumpkins or something in. A couple of other things that I found that are fall related, and they were $2 for the set. It's just these little pilgrims. Now they're just flat backs, so they would just like sit up on a shelf or against something, or I guess you can maybe mount them on some kind of board or something. But I just thought they were cute and loved the colors and all on them. This piece was $1.50. I just love odd wooden things. I think this might be what they call a dibber, that's used to poke down into the dirt when you're wanting to plant seeds or flowers or something. And maybe the markings are supposed to be like, they look about 1 inch apart, however deep you're needing to go with your seed. That's what I'm guessing. I had no idea what these things were. I have a metal one that has the same shape, but it has a handle that comes down this way. And, you know, back earlier in the year, I had thrifted it, and it was a vintage one, and someone on here got back and told me that that was called a dibber, D-I-B-B-E-R, I think it is, and was used for planting seeds. So I will actually use this one out in my greenhouse stuff, because it was only $1.50. Love that. All right, next, I loved these pieces. They are actual Delft from Holland tiles. And I paid $5 a piece for them. But y'all, I just loved, let's see if I can get up there. I loved the looks of that. And they're all something to do with a pharmacy. But when I go to do my blue and white dishes again, won't these be so pretty, like sitting in a plate holder around? They are so cute. One, love that one. And I love the crazy look on them. I don't know if these are really old. I'd have to look up a little bit more about them, because that crazing is intentional, because you can see it's just within certain areas of the decor. So I doubt these are actually vintage, but I love the way they looked. And that was the last one. Guess he's getting some dental work, what we all hate getting done. Okay, first of all, I just want to say that my home was not damaged. The only thing that we even had happen, other than, you know, a little bit of flooding issues that didn't really cause any damage, was I have a little greenhouse that I haven't had a chance to share with you on here, but 4 of the panels got blown out of it. And fortunately, we were able to find them and put them back in, and everything's fine. Our yard was full of debris, and like I said, we had some flooding issues, but it didn't damage anything. However, my neighbor was not as fortunate. I shared this on my community page, so if you follow me there, you've already heard the news, but one of my neighbors 3 doors down was killed during the accident, or the hurricane. 2 trees came through their house, and it just totally took out the entire back of their house. She was 35 years old, a English teacher at our local high school. So it was very, very sad. In the clips, you might hear me talk about seeing fire trucks go down the road. You can't see the house in my video. I couldn't tell, because it's at the very end of my street and it's down at the bottom of the hill, so I couldn't really tell where the fire trucks were going. The one house I could see, that's where I thought it was at. And you'll hear me mention, hey, there's fire trucks going by, or they're still there, hope nothing's wrong. Because I didn't know. We didn't know until the storm had passed, and you know, all of these fire trucks and stuff were going by and everything. And then, you know, we started to get suspicious when we seen the police come, because we're like, okay, that they don't just come to a medical emergency or a fire. So anyhow, it was just very sad for that to have happened. And please be praying for her family and friends and stuff, and her students. Gosh, you know, they haven't been back to school yet. And many of them may not know yet, because not only have we lost power, but our cell service is not been very good here. As a matter of fact, the only way I'm going to be able to upload this video is to drive to Walmart's parking lot or Lowe's parking lot, which is about 3 miles from me, and sit in the parking lot and hope that it will upload, because the cell service right here at my house is very spotty. Maybe can make a call here and there, but and text may or may not come through. We don't know. Internet, it's gone. I don't know how long it'll be before they get the connection for it back up. And so I don't know, and a lot of people are in this same boat. So I don't know what her students have heard, if they know about it before. And I'm not sure if they're going back to school this Monday or not, because there's still, like, I have power. Across the street from me does not have power. Most of my neighborhood does not have power. Somehow my street and the one back behind me apparently is on a different transformer, and they got that one working, but the rest of them, I don't know. I keep getting these messages. They were supposed to have it tomorrow. Now they're saying indefinite. They don't know when it's going to be, because they got thousands of miles of wire to run. Y'all, when I say this storm was devastating, it was unreal. I have never in my life seen something like this. And we have had tornadoes go through here. You can kind of follow the path the tornado took. This is as wide as our county. I mean, everywhere you go, it is just trees down. And we're talking, 75, 100-year-old oak trees uprooted on top of houses, on top of cars, on top of buildings. And I'm not sure the actual death toll in my own county. I think the last time I seen it, it was like 15 or something, and I think it's went up since then. Like I said, I don't have service, so I try to catch up a little bit every evening. My husband and I would get in the car and we'd go down to where we can get some service, try to catch up on the news and stuff like that. But it's so much out there, you don't know what's what right now. But y'all, it was awful. And I'm sure you've seen the videos and heard about the Lake Lord Chimney Rock area. That is one of my favorite places to visit. It's about 30 minutes north of me, and oh my goodness, the videos I'm seeing are just unreal. I can't imagine. I mean, it just doesn't, it's like, I can't comprehend it, how that happened, how that devastating that was. I mean, we're a mountain region. I'm at the base of the mountain. I mean, 10-minute drive, and I'm going up the mountains. And we would never, ever thought that a hurricane would have done the damage it's done in this area, and especially in the higher mountain area, like Asheville and all. They're a little bit higher elevation, and that's about an hour from me. Very devastating. And all the little towns in between, there's just heartbreaking stories that you hear, and I'm sure y'all have heard them, and if you've watched the news about it. But the thing that got me about the Chimney Rock was one video, and I'm going to try to link the guy's information below, his videos. He actually lives up there, and he has a YouTube channel. He hiked down and walked through the town so you could see firsthand, instead of just these little pictures from the news or short little videos. He actually shows you hiking in, and there's one part of the town, if you've ever been up to Chimney Rock, it's right there where the little it's like carnival rides for kids. It's like little merry-go-rounds and swings and all that. There's a little section right there. Well, the river's across the road behind a bunch of buildings. Well, it's not now. Those carnival rides are gone. That river is now where they are at. So it's totally shifted the terrain around there. Like where the river was once on one side, and now it's on the other side. Humongous boulders, bigger than cars, all down the town, where buildings used to be. It's just unbelievable. It will take years for them to recover from that. And one of the places I loved, Lake Lure Flower and Bridge. And I will eventually try to dig up some old videos of that and share here one day on a video, because that was also one of my favorite places. It was, going up there was one of those places that when I was so stressed out, you know, because I've told many of y'all, I used to work as an engineer, and that was a very stressful job. And many times I would call my husband on my way home from work and say, be ready to get in the car when I pull in, because I need to de-stress. And that was my thing. We rode up to the mountains, rode in. There was a Pearson Falls area. I have no idea how it's done. I imagine it's probably washed the roads out, because it gets mudslides just on a heavy thunderstorm. So I'm imagining that is totally wiped out. But that was what, as soon as I started up the road, seeing those mountains, I would just feel the tension release from me. And it was just something that I still, even after I've stopped working as an engineer, I would still, you know, once a month, if not more, ride up there. And as you know, my antique mall that I have my booth stuff in is in the mountains there, or right at the base of the mountain before you start going up in them. And fortunately, it did not sustain any damage. But anyhow, the videos I'm going to show you, there's nothing disturbing, you know, on here, except just a little bit I caught when it was coming in. It started here like in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 in the morning, and you could hear the wind and the rain. And then I got up around 7. It was still a little dark out there, so the first videos are a little bit dark, but you can see, I'm sitting out here on my back porch and you can see the wind. And then as the day went on, I would kind of walk out to my front porch, film a little bit there, and then I filmed out the side of my house. There was an area that flooded. I have a retaining wall all the way down from the front of my yard to past my house into the backyard at my garage. And thank goodness we have that retaining wall, because this is the only second time, and I've been married for 37 years, and this is the only second time I've seen the water come over that wall. It's 2 cinder block high plus another cap on top, and it was coming over like a waterfall. And we even have drain holes like in the bottom for when it does flood, it can drain out that holes and come on through the yard. And it couldn't hold it. It was just coming over it, and it just blowed our minds. And I've never, ever in those 37 years I've been married and lived in this house, seen the water come up to my step on my back porch. Now, it's went around the edge. I've filmed that many times, especially if you've watched me on Instagram. I've done stories before when there's been a big storm, how the water's flowing down beside my front of my porch, and we have like some barriers that helps, you know, make it flow that way. But it was so much water, it was actually coming up to the steps on my back porch, and I've never seen that happen. And it was just crazy. But I'm thanking God that my family is safe, and we didn't, you know, have any damage like many others have lost everything. And you know, my heart just goes out for them, and just, you know, it just heartbreaking. And one thing I forgot to mention, in the midst of all this, you know, the hurricane hit us on Friday. Saturday, we had to drive 3.5 hours away to Fayetteville, North Carolina, to help move my daughter back to South Carolina. Her and her husband have left the military, and they were moving back here, and nobody had power here or anything, but they had already got the trucks, you know, scheduled, and were loading up, or we went to help load up and stuff, and there was kind of like no backing down out at that point without losing thousands of dollars that they'd already spent on these trucks to move them. So we got them moved down here, which I'm very thankful for. Now she lives, she's about 20 minutes away from me right now. And so now, you know, have all my family back home and I'm very excited for that. And it's just gonna take time for our community to heal. And, you know, everywhere we drove, most of the roads were blocked, trees everywhere, and it's just taken a lot of time for people to get back in the swing of things. And like I said, many still don't, thousands don't have power. My parents don't have power, but thankfully they have a generator on their house, so that's helped them. All the stores around here, most of them only take cash, and a lot of them don't have your meats and cold items, milk, stuff like that yet. You have to kind of drive 35-40 minutes away to another town east of us that didn't get hit as bad to try to find anything like that. So it's crazy. It's nothing I've never experienced, and it's very humbling to have to go through this. So I just ask that y'all continue to pray for everyone, and hopefully we'll slowly get back to somewhat of a normalcy. I know it'll never be the same, you know, knowing that the devastation that others are dealing with just, you know, 30 minutes an hour up from my house. Just keep everyone in your prayers. And I know this got kind of long, and if you've stuck it out, I appreciate it. So now I'm just going to show you the videos that I did of just my little snippets around. But I hope y'all have a very blessed day. Bye. The roar yard out there. Knocked a few of my bottles off my tree. That's never happened before. Through other tropical storms. A plant I just put out here, it knocked it off. But my neighbor over there just had a big tree fall, and it just roaring everywhere. I feel for those in the direct path of this. We're on the outer band of it and getting it like this. It's crazy. It hasn't come up this far onto that wall in a long time. You can't see it, but it's pouring out down there. And his tree's gone down, and we've seen 2 fire trucks go down the street. It's getting a little bit worse. And now there's 2 fire trucks down at the end of the road there. I've heard a lot of trees snapping. I don't know if something's fell on the house or crazy. Y'all look at this. It's my block wall, retaining wall. Good thing we have it, or our house would be flooded. And it normally comes out of them holes at the bottom, but it's been stopped up coming out of that. Good thing my husband anchored that into the ground too. This is right outside my porch. And we had another tree back there. Neighbors go down. Way down in front of my yard. You can't probably see it out there for the screen, but we've got the rip-roaring rapids going on. And another casualty that took down my arbor. with my ivy on it. And then see down there is that neighbor that I don't know what's going on at their house. Hopefully this tree don't go. And y'all know my fish bottles that I have never once had a problem with here. They fell off on the ground. Hopefully they're not broken. This is unlike one we've ever seen.